Well, in kindergarten, it's pretty common to have an end-of-year performance, which is great. Like, all of the parents get to see what their kids have learned all year, and they do like a little song and dance, and everybody loves it except kindergarten me. I hated it. I didn't like being on a stage. I didn't like being in front of people. Even though I was abnormally tall, hard to imagine, I know, and I was on the back row, so no one could really even see me anyway, and there's like 50 other people in my little kindergarten class, but still, I got so nervous about being on stage at a young age that I distinctly remember going into the bathroom before this performance, gagging myself so that I'd throw up, because 6-year-old me knew if you throw up, you can't go to school. You're sick. So I got out of going on to stage, right? That's how I did it. A couple of years later, there was this class assignment for us to write a letter to somebody that we look up to, and then read that letter to that person in front of the entire class. It was like 3rd grade. And you know that thing of when you eat breakfast, and like the food looks good, but after you've eaten it, like you don't want to see that food again? Well, I did, and it wasn't in the bathroom. I tried to overcome my stage fright and read this letter to my dad, and I almost made it. I remember at the very last line, which was what I was trying to say, Dad, is I love, and I just vomited everywhere. I'm talking projectile. I'm talking all over me, all over him. I needed a new shirt, new pants, new shoes. So did 5 other people in the front row. It was nasty. Nasty. Well, it's obvious that I don't have this problem anymore, and it's actually a great honor and a great joy to get to speak and for hopefully God to speak through me. And I, for one, am so thankful that people change. Aren't you? People change. It's so good, and it's so great to know because it gives us hope, right? Little me, I had no idea what I would be doing today. You've seen people change, haven't you? Maybe there's that shy girl in middle school who's now a junior in high school and she's super outgoing, maybe a little too outgoing. Maybe there's that dude who used to wear Wranglers and boots and now he wears Nikes, joggers, and a gold chain. It's like, well, okay, there's that. Maybe you've changed, and you now is very different from you 3 years ago, and if you looked at a picture of you 3 years ago, you would be like, thank God. But don't we also believe that some things never change? Like the feel of your hand in mine? People been seeing Frozen 2? No? Quarantine's been rough for me, y'all. Some things never change. We think it's impossible for some people to change. Maybe there's that girl and you're like, she's just always gonna be a stoner. Like, that's just who she is, right? Maybe there's that coach who's just always gonna be a jerk. He was born a jerk, he's a jerk now, and he'll be a jerk till he's 150. Maybe there's that sister you have who is always just gonna be an annoying little hot mess. It doesn't matter. That's just who she is. Maybe there's that dad or stepdad that is just always going to have a temper. Well, what about you? What about you? What is something that you think of yourself and you think it's never gonna change? It's never going to get any better for me. And if there was this magical button you could press to fix that one thing, what would it be? What would that button be? Maybe it's an addiction that you have. Maybe it's a habit that you struggle with and you just can't seem to kick. Maybe it's a personality trait or a physical feature. Maybe it's a fear. What would it be if you could change something? See, just as fast as we realize things are always changing, we're also afraid some things never will, and we say things like, well, it is what it is, and it always will be. This is just who I am, and nothing can change that. Well, Zacchaeus must have felt the same way. As we recall, he is a tax collector, a chief tax collector, and was pretty well despised, we can tell from the context of the passage, by basically everyone in town. He had a very negative reputation and few people liked him. Well, when Jesus picks him out of this crowd of good people that were following him around because of all of the amazing ministry that he's done, everybody grumbled in verse 7. He has gone to be the guest of a sinner. It would be like the most popular person in the world right now. I don't know, The Weeknd. He comes in, he's doing the Super Bowl halftime show, and he says, I want to hang out with that guy. And it's the bully of your school. It's like the biggest jerk that nobody likes. And you're like, what? Him? It makes no sense. But Jesus saw Zacchaeus when no one else did. He saw that there was more to his story, right? And Jesus sees you, maybe in a way that nobody else does. Jesus knew how people felt about Zacchaeus. Jesus knew how Zacchaeus felt about himself. And Jesus knows the same thing about you. And being recognized like this by Jesus changed everything for Zacchaeus, and that's what we're going to be looking at tonight. But being recognized by Jesus, if there's all of these similarities, look, if he knows your name, and he knows what matters to you, and he knows your story, and if he's gonna love you no matter what, all of the same things are true about Jesus towards Zacchaeus. All the same things are true, Jesus towards you. Has it changed your life? Has it drastically impacted who you are, what you do, and how you live? Because look, here's what happened with Zacchaeus when that happened. When he realized this, when Jesus says, I see you, Zacchaeus in verse 8 stood up and said to the Lord, look, Lord! And there's an exclamation point in the Bible. He says, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. That was his first instinct, like take half of everything. Not 10%, not the bare minimum, not just like serving on the weekends or when it's convenient. He said, take half of everything, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay it back 4 times over, 4 times the amount. He didn't even have to do that. Jesus didn't even ask for that. He just did that all on his own, out of his own conviction, because Jesus' interaction, Jesus' recognition just changed his life. Has it changed yours? Because when everyone thought Zacchaeus was a lost cause, Jesus believed in him. And there's power in that. When everyone thought Zacchaeus could never change, Jesus saw his potential. And there is power in that. When Zacchaeus might have felt like, this is just who I am. I'm a chief tax collector. Nobody likes me. No one's going to take the time out of their day to get to know me. Jesus says, I will. Those things that everyone says about you, those things that you say about yourself, they're not true. Listen to what I say about you. You are loved. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. And I want to spend time with you. I want to get close to you. I see something that nobody else sees, and there's power in that. And that's true for you as you sit here tonight too. See, in a moment, Jesus can reverse a reputation, whether it's a reputation that's been placed on you, whether it's a reputation that you've been born into, or whether it's a reputation that you are responsible for, that you have created for yourself, or even one that you've just made up in your own head. What is impossible for man, what is impossible for you, is possible with God. But it starts in the heart, and we've got to catch this tonight, because Zacchaeus' outward step was a reflection of what had taken place inside his heart. Is Jesus controlling your heart tonight? You can tell if there's an outward expression of that. Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. How are your words? When you're around people, when you're gaming online, whenever no one else is around and you're just by yourself, what comes out of your mouth? What are the thoughts in your head? What actions do you take? Because it's funny how it starts in the heart, the things that you do and you say, right? Well, Zacchaeus' heart was transformed, and it was evidenced by the fruit of his life. You know how a good tree bears good fruit? That's how you can tell if it's a good tree. Is Jesus controlling your heart? I wonder if you've ever had somebody believe in you, somebody who sees your potential. Has someone ever just looked at you and said, hey, try out for the team. I think you have a real shot. Whenever no one else would, everyone else is like, you doo-doo at basketball. It felt good to have that one person who believed in you, right? maybe who saw your potential. They said, I'll practice with you. Maybe there's that one person who said, try out for the part, try out for the lead role. I think you might be able to get it. Try learning that instrument. Here, have one of mine. It's an extra. It feels good to have that person, right, who believes in you and sees your potential. That person who says, look, you are talented, you are gifted, you are special. Has someone said that to you? Maybe they have. You know that feeling? Maybe they haven't. Well, Jesus says it. Jesus says it for every single one. And man, it changes everything. That's what it did for Zacchaeus, and he can do it for you. And that's why it's personal. It's personal because Jesus knows your potential. People who knew me in middle school, elementary school, and middle school would be shook if they knew what I do today. And they are. Like sometimes someone will see me and they're like, Oren, haven't seen you in 45 years. How's it been, man? And I'm like, great. You? Oh, solid. What are you doing? I'm a youth pastor. What? They're like, you? Dude who just went like all over this, everybody just, you, okay. You just, okay. That's how it goes. Every time, 100% of the time. It's miraculous. If you want to hear it again, check out the Legacy Student Ministry podcast. You can just listen to it on repeat. Shameless plug! And share it with a friend. But it's a miracle. Like, it's miraculous. I know from firsthand experience that people change, and it's a good thing. God can use change for his glory. I'm living in it. Anyone can radically change. And I'm talking about you, but I'm also talking about the person in your school or the person in your family that you think there is just no hope for. You're like, no way. Yes, way. Jesus loves them just as much as he loves you, Zacchaeus, and everybody else on planet Earth. He died for us all just the same, and Jesus is in the business of life change. So let's let him change our lives. Jesus said to Zacchaeus in verses 9 and 10, today salvation has come to this house because this man, too, is a son of Abraham. He's a person. He's a human being. You know, Father Abraham had many sons. Many sons said, I'm one of them, so is Zacchaeus, okay? He's a person. And the Son of Man came, Jesus came to seek and save the lost. He's not just waiting for you to come to him. He's coming after you too. He's coming after you. So listen, are you lost? Are you lost in doubt? Are you lost in this crippling fear or this overwhelming frustration with just who you are and you don't like how God made you? Well, listen, he came to seek you out in that tree. And he says, come down. I want to come to your house today. I want to spend time with you. I see you. I know your name. I know what matters to you. I know your story, and I love you no matter what. And I see the potential that you have to do great things in my name if you'll partner with me and let me. Let him come into your house. Let him come into your heart. You know, the Apostle Paul said it this way, and we'll finish up here. In 2 Corinthians Chapter 5, verse 17, one of my favorite verses in all of the Bible. If anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old is gone, and the new is here. Let the new come. Let the new come. It starts in your heart. So listen, first step, believe that you can change. Believe that the transformative power of Jesus Christ is alive in you. If you've put your faith in him, that same resurrection power is alive in you. Let's start acting like it. The new has come, and some of us are just tugging around this old dead body and all this sin and shame that Jesus died for. He's like, you don't have to carry all that stuff around anymore. I carried it on the cross. What are you doing? And you're like, well, it's familiar. Man, step out of that and then step out of yourself and believe that others can change too because Christ died for them as well. No one is hopeless. No one is a lost cause. You get that? We write people off so much. Think about it. Think about how many times you see someone and you think that's who they are. And Jesus says it doesn't have to be. How many times you look in the mirror and say, that's who I am? Jesus says it doesn't have to be. The power of Christ has the ability to do anything for everyone. And it starts in your heart.